So apparently, or should I say allegedly, in around 64 days, we could very well see the internet computer achieve a pretty monumental milestone. And what is that? So as of right now, the internet computer is on pace to actually burn a grand total of 3 million in terms of its supply so far throughout its time, basically, in around 64 days, given the current burn rate. Let me explain what I mean by this in today's video, even though nothing I say is financial advice. So let's just do some basic math. And this information, by the way, is just from the Internet Computer Dashboard. So did you know that as of right now, the current total burn of the supply, it's around 2.81 million? And if we take a look at it, approximately to reach a grand total of 3 million burned so far, it needs to burn a further around 188,000 of the internet computer in terms of its token. However, if we take a look at what is the implied daily burn, right? So how much are they approximately burning per day at this current rate? It's around 2,945, so almost 3,000 basically. If we take a look at that right there, given that current rate, in around 64 days from now, or basically around 9 weeks or whatever, we're going to very well see the internet computer achieve a grand total of 3 million of its supply being burned so far. Wouldn't that be a pretty monumental milestone? Now people like to say, well, that's not enough though. Well, at least there's a mechanism to do that, right? I mean, at least there's a way to kind of try to mitigate that supply. Keep in mind, this needs to be done, in my opinion, because if we take a look at it, the internet computer does not have a set maximum supply. So it's infinity, literally. Much like the logo when it comes to the internet computer, it's infinity, the maximum supply is also infinity. But yeah, besides that point, this is not anything unique to only this though. I mean, we take a look at Dogecoin, Solana, they have no maximum supply, so why is no one complaining about that? I don't know why no one's complaining about that, but suddenly this is a big concern. But yeah, besides that point, and now with the advent of Mission 70, basically, to allow for more of the supply to be burned. So it's not a bad thing. Mission 70 is this strategic plan to cut ICP inflation by up to 70% by the end of this year. So you gotta let that sink in for a second. The internet computer, in terms of its supply, yeah, sure. People like to say, oh, if it only burns like 3 million total, who cares? Like, the total supply as of right now is around 540 million. That's not even 1%. Yeah, I get it, but keep in mind, Mission 70 just happened very recently. So it's going to take some time, but at the same time, it's at least a way to kind of reduce that supply, right? So why is that a bad thing? And keep in mind as well, people like to say, well, this is not too much in the grand scheme of things, like who cares? But again, if we think about it, they're currently burning around almost 3,000 of the supply per day. That's the current pace, more or less. So we got to let that sink in. That's a pretty decent pace. Now, I'd like to see it continue for many years to come. We'll see if they can maintain that, but I'm just saying, at least I do see it there. If I didn't see it at all, then okay, it's a really bad thing, but at least I'm seeing it. So I don't know why this is so bad. If the internet computer didn't have this, I know some people who would complain, right? But then now that it has this, some people out there also complain. So what is it? I'd rather have at least a mechanism or a way, I suppose, or a plan or whatever, to kind of mitigate that inflation instead of not caring about it at all. Because some other projects out there, quite frankly, they don't care about this. Or should I say this type of stuff, but at least Dfinity, they seem to care. So I do like seeing this. Now people like to say, well, why does this really matter anyways? Like, they say, who cares if the internet computer burns a grand total of 3 million in terms of the token? If let's say it could achieve that milestone in around 64 days, like who cares? Well, I think that if it could reach 3 million, it's just this kind of barrier that if crossed, right, if surpassed, it would just create a lot more, I think, of a better sentiment, because it's like going to a store, right? If we take a look at, let's say in the case of something that costs $2.99, I mean, basically it's $3 because it's just 1 cent off. But then just because the starting number is 2, even though $2.99 is just 1 cent off $3, I just automatically feel like it's a little bit cheaper. which it technically is, but it's not anything significant really in the grand scheme of things. But it just feels like cheaper, which it is, but the impact of it feels more than 1 cent just because the starting number is 2. So as of right now, seeing a grand total of around 2.8 million that's burned so far, at least on the dashboard, it doesn't seem as fantastic, right? It doesn't have this gravitas in the same way 3 million would. Because as of right now, when people take a look at this, even though it's around 2.8 million, in terms of the total that's burned so far, people still think, oh, it's just around 2 million, right? Even though it's so close to 3 million, people still think, oh, it's around 2 million. But if it could actually reach 3 million, it would create, I think, a better sentiment overall in terms of the perceived tokenomics in regard to the internet computer. That's the thing. So I don't view it as a bad thing. I get it. People like to say, oh, it's kind of trivial. No one's really going to care about it. But I think a lot of people do, because I see a lot of people mention this to me all the time. So clearly a lot of people are paying attention to what's going on when it comes to the dashboard, right? When I take a look at something like this, I'm waiting for that because I think it would create a big sentiment. Maybe it's not just going to automatically make the internet computer, do this or do that. No, I don't think so. I don't think it's going to be a big impact or anything like that. But at the same time, it would just create a better, I think, sentiment overall. So I don't think it's a bad thing. But yeah, we'll wait and see. I'll make an updated video again in around 9 weeks regarding this. But of course, I'll still be making updates in regard to the internet computer as time goes on. But besides that point though, the internet computer has recovered almost 3% in the past 24 hours, which, a lot of altcoins are kind of doing this. And, who knows, right? I mean, within this space, 10%, 15% up or down in like 24 hours or in a 24-hour time span, I should say, for an altcoin especially, it doesn't feel like anything too out of the ordinary. We see it often. But I think this, if anything, just kind of showcases that, yeah, sometimes some things can only go so low. Now, keep in mind though, the internet computer is actually kind of low in a sense where it's around 17 cents higher than its all-time low, which I get it seems a little bit embarrassing, but I'm just saying it's a little bit low, which I don't find it to be a bad thing, by the way, because even though it may seem embarrassing at first glance, my thing is I don't really mind the dip. I mean, keep in mind, these are like literally all-time low levels, right? I mean, we're not at the all-time low, of course, but we're so close to it, though. That's the thing. The all-time low is literally $1.98. Literally take a look at what's on the screen. As of right now, the internet computer, $2.15. All-time low is $1.98. So yeah, when it comes to this, it's literally hovering at around all-time low levels. An all-time low literally means the lowest it's ever been in history. And when it comes to this, it's $1.98. We're $2.15 as of right now, but that's only 17 cents higher than its all-time low. But it depends on the frame of mind. Some people may not like it. Totally understandable. But I just don't mind the dip. So yeah, but besides that point though, it's been a pretty quick update when it comes to the internet computer. I just wanted to talk about the tokenomics real quick. Not going into full detail, of course, but just to kind of talk a little bit in regard to an aspect of it, right? In regard to what's being burned so far, because a lot of people like to tell me, oh, nothing's going on when it comes to it. But I think sometimes when I take a look at it a little bit deeper, and I do kind of the basic math, so to speak, and I start seeing, okay, this is not such a bad pace, I suppose, in terms of their burn rate. So yeah, I don't find it to be a bad thing, and I just wanted to make that video, or should I say this video, to kind of clarify just what I think about it as of right now. But I'll be sure to make more updates moving forward, so I want to say thank you so much for watching, and I hope you all have a very fantastic day. It's Millie the Captain. I'm out. Peace. Bye.